Greetings and salutations. This is Malinda Weaver from Avondale United Methodist Church with your Wednesday Eastside Lifeline. It's something like week 9 or 10. I'm not even sure anymore what week it is, but I do know that it is Wednesday if you're trying to keep track of what day it is according to your calendar. And a lot of folks have been wondering, I was even asked today, when we're going to reopen for in-person worship, and honestly I don't know. We've suspended through at least June 1st, but it could be longer than that depending on the rise in cases or the lowering in cases or the flattening of the curve or all the things. But I think the bigger question that we need to be asking is not so much when will we be returning to in-person worship as much as how are we being the church. I had seen a meme earlier this week that says the church has left the building. And so I created my own using a picture of my own sanctuary that says the church has left the building. And while we have left the building, we are not worshiping in person. I think there's more to it than that. The church has left the building because the people are the church. You are the church. I am the church. We are the church together. There's an old song that I learned as a kid about being the church. And so even though we can't worship in person, that's not as big a deal as how important it is to just be able to gather and worship. And so many of us have found creative ways to do it online. But beyond worship, we also have to think about how is it that we are serving our neighbors? How is it that we are loving God and loving our neighbors at the same time? How are we living as the church into the Great Commandment? I am a big Indigo Girls fan. There is no hiding that fact. I am a groupie. If I could follow them on tour when we're not in pandemic mode but in normal mode, I would follow them on tour. I've been to countless concerts. And they have a new album that's coming out in a week or so called Look Long. And I overheard or was listening to an interview that they did recently about how they chose that title. They began writing this album back in 2016. They were looking at the long view of society. They were looking at the long view of culture, about how it is that we got to where we are, but also about where it is that we are going. How it is that hopefully we can someday, somehow mend the fractures that are so evident within our society, that we can somehow reconcile with one another to truly see that we're all beloved children of God and that we aren't separate people, us and them on one side or the other. But it takes a long view to see that. If we are truly the church, we have to be taking that long view. It can't just be about, are we going to return to worship this Sunday? What about next Sunday? What's it going to look like? I struggle with those questions all the time. I'm a planner, I'm a futurist. I need to know a date, hard and fast. When is this going to be? And when we live like this, in this pandemic time, we can't have those certainties. We can't have those hard and fast dates and deadlines that we know that this is the day that we're going to do this. But in the meantime, we can still be the church. We can still take the long view because God called us to love God and to love our neighbors. And so how is it that we are able to do that? There are a lot of ways that I am seeing people be the church, that I'm seeing people love one another. And so I wanted to share with you today those things that I'm seeing in our midst. Some of them Avondale United Methodist Church is doing through our mission arm, Avondale Samaritan Place. Some of them are coming from my partners that are helping with the Eastside Lifeline. And so I want to share a few of those with you right now. Eastlake United Methodist Church, they're supporting their local farmers and they have begun their Eastlake Farmers Market. They are doing so safely, and they just ask that you wear a mask, that you come. It's every Saturday from 8 to noon, and you're able to support local farmers and get some great fresh produce. Also at Eastlake, they have a daily meal, Monday through Friday from 11 to 1, that supports their church. It offers jobs to local people, the people who are chefs and whatnot, and these meals only cost $5. You get them to go, and they're in their downstairs diner at Eastlake United Methodist Church from 11 to 1 Monday through Friday. My friends over at Woodlawn United Methodist Church, They have created what's called the Woodlawn Community Table. This was happening before the pandemic, but it's continuing to happen, and they serve people in the 35212 zip code. If you need help with food, they can help you, but also they need your support and your donations. And so I encourage you to check out the Woodlawn Community Table. You can go to their website, woodlawncommunitytable.org. One of my church's organizations that we sponsor, we house them during the school year. They come and they tutor children in our building, is STAIR. It stands for Start the Adventure in Reading. They have sites all over the city, and they take second grade students and they have them 2 days a week in whatever site that they are in, and they are tutored in reading. They have one-on-one attention. While they haven't been able to meet at my church and their other sites around the city, they've been doing virtual tutoring. My daughter has even gotten to take part, and it's been amazing to watch the growth that is happening in her. But right now they're going to continue that through the summer. Since these kids have missed essentially 5 months of school, they're continuing with this virtual tutoring throughout the summer. What would have usually ended at the end of April is continuing on. These people are dedicated. And so they're raising money for books. They're trying to get 10 books to every student that's in their program. It costs $110 to give 10 books to one student. That's a small amount of money to so many people, but it can make a huge difference in the life of a child. So I encourage you to support STAIR. You can go to their website and sponsor a child. Once the pandemic began, one of my church members had this idea. She wanted to help feed school families from Avondale Elementary that rely on the free breakfast and lunch that they receive at school that they would no longer receive. We had an overwhelming response of people. We've raised at least $15,000 to date to be able to continue this ministry, hopefully through the summer. But the place that we need help now with that is through delivering these meals. Each Wednesday we have folks go out 2 by 2, it's biblical, and they go out and they deliver the food to 8 to 10 families on Wednesdays from 12 to 4. I'll put the link for the Sign Up Genius in my post, but I encourage you, if you're able and available, to come and help deliver these meals each week. We need volunteers, about 10 volunteers a week. That's 2 by 2, and you need to bring your friend with you because obviously we have to stay safe with COVID-19, so it needs to be someone that you're regularly around. And then finally, I'm very excited about this ministry too. This is through Avondale Samaritan Place, which is the mission arm of Avondale Methodist and Canterbury Methodist. And we're going to be providing free produce every Wednesday beginning next Wednesday through July 22nd. You come at 10 a.m., you drive through, and you get 2 boxes of free produce. We also need volunteers though to help put these boxes in people's cars. So I hope you'll sign up and take part in this if you're available on Wednesday mornings from about 10 to 12 to be able to help load these cars. Of course, if you need help with food, with mental health resources, with whatever it is that you're struggling with right now, I hope you'll reach out to me. I hope you'll reach out to one of the pastors that's doing Eastside Lifeline, or reach out to your own pastor if we're not one of your pastors. Let us know how we can help you so that we can best support you in these days ahead. I'm Malinda Weaver with your Eastside Lifeline. I hope you'll continue to take the long view. The church has truly left the building, and you can be a part of that. Be a part of loving God and loving your neighbor. Amen.